Welcome back, everybody. Got a video here for you guys. A few things of some queen cells. We're going to put out queen cells in this video. I'm going to show you how we pull cells out of the cell builders and how we put the queen cells into the mating nukes, and a little couple things that I do just in that process. It's a nice evening, and this is just some flint corn. I've never planted flint corn before. Everyone's planting sweet corn, but this is some Abenaki flint corn. I'm really intrigued by flint corn, the idea of eating my own grits, I guess, and then grinding it. So I'm gonna grow in a little patch of flint corn this year, and we're gonna see how it goes. Maybe it'll all just feed the chickens or something. But anyways, it'll be fun. See, it's fun watching it grow, like every farmer with a crop of something, whether it's bees and honey or a little hobby thing like this for me with corn and a vegetable garden, whatever. But the bees are doing good, and it's been a productive season so far. So I get into the building here. The honey flows have been wonderful for me this spring for buildup in general. I'm amazed at populations, just are beautiful populations of bees. And the 1200 medium supers that I use for a crop of honey are just about out of here. This was the space. It's amazing I can fit them all in this little space. We stack them 20 high. But this is what I got left. I got this stack here. This is all foundation, actually. All homemade foundation in these boxes. Brand new boxes, never been used. And got a couple of stacks here that are going to go out at some point. Sumacs just starting to flower. So, honey, honey, honey. Money, money, money. Anyways. Not a bad, not the best, not the worst, but 48 cells grafted. They got some tore down, but there's more to come. Another one. They got them all. When you have a flow, a honey flow, big, modest to intense honey flow, they'll web up the frame, the queen cells. And if you're, I noticed, like, if you get the skinny cell bars, this one's a traditional frame, but the skinnier the frames are, and you can push these things closer together, the less webbing you get when you have flows, you know, with your cells. But there's that one. On this frame I have a skinnier bar, so we should see less webbing or comb being built up in the cells that I have on the other, that last frame I showed you guys. But let's see if I'm deceived. This is a skinnier cell grafting or frame. This is a skinnier cell bar, but you have no webbing at all. And notice how skinny that frame is. So that's the one reason why I like the skinny frames when you're raising queen cells on the cell bars or the grafting frames, is because you don't get the the webbing from the comb when there's a honey flow on. And they're easier to get the bees off of. Less space for them to hide front and back on the frames when you brush them off. But again, not a bad take. Again, I graphed 48 cells on these wooden frames. On the JZBZs you only get 45, but these are 48. And I use 5 to 6 cell builders to get I need at least 200 cells for my mating nukes, and I have a bunch of customers that require, they want some virgins, so I'll graft. Usually I get the virgins out of the way, the orders for the virgins at the beginning of the year, and so the first 2 grafts I graft into 6 cell builders, so I have like 280, and I have, you know, obviously I can come up with around 40 to 50 virgins in the week. But so we got the virgins out of the way. Now I just need 5 cell builders to graft into every 8 days now for the last 4 grafts of the year, and to fill my own needs and mated queen orders. So this is the mating yard that we're putting queen cells in today. We got our frame of cells about 6 miles down the road from where I grafted, or where all the cell building and all that stuff happened, so it's not too far down the road. I could go off on a bunch of different rabbit trails in regards to where I'm at here with this mating yard. We got 52 4-way mating nukes here, and the biggest problem that we've had this year is actually it's kind of one of the benefits of having really healthy, strong colonies is with a mating yard, or with these mini combs, they built up too quickly, and there's too many bees on these 4-ways. So we had to shake a lot of bees off of these combs to accommodate for smaller populations to accept cells. Not to go off on any great length, but if you're mating queens, trying to get queen cells accepted into mating nukes, strong populations, depending upon what's going on, you know, with brood in those populations, will make for poor acceptance of queen cells. So essentially you want a population that's just strong enough to stay healthy, and you don't want them having a lot of resources, or if any at all resources, to raise their own queens. So if they're full of bees and they have some eggs and larvae, guess what happens? They raise their own cells, they reject your cells, you come back to catch queens on a given day, and you either have a virgin or you have a queen that's not from the lineage that you're trying to propagate if you have a breeding program. And you can see that there's some bearding. These colonies had way too many bees for this time of year. If this was August and we're done with the last round of queen cells in here, I'd say that's acceptable. But for the 15th of June, Notice the corn, right? Knee high by the 4th of July, knee high by the 15th of July. But anyways, these beards are there's way too many bees. So we harvested these mated queens out of these mini nucs here yesterday, and we shook a lot of bees. I think we probably shook 30 pounds, maybe not 30 pounds, 25, 20 pounds of bees. And I mean, it's amazing that you can do so much with these mating nucs. You can shake packages out of them if there's I mean, it's just, I'm amazed at all these things that come out of it that I'm not even considering at the time. So let's dive into this. We'll put some of these cells into these quadrants, these 4 ways, and we'll see how it goes here. So the first thing I like to do, hopefully the audio is okay here, you guys can hear me. I like to document the breeder. So I cross out last, the breeder was in here representing the family, and we put in the new one. And we peel the grain bags back. And we got bees. We got our cells. It's pretty straightforward. I just lay out 4 cells on the top bars. I try to do this in a speedily fashion so we don't linger too long. I drop the cells right in. And come back and, well, I guess from today, if you're counting days, it'd be a full 15 days, 16 days if you include today, before we come back and harvest these queens out and repeat the process again. One thing I like to do is sometimes peek in these. Nothing new, but you just peek in and you got a nice ripe pupa. That way you know you got a viable queen cell. I don't do it to every single one, but I do it out of every batch, you know, probably out of 4 or 5, just to make sure that they're all in good order, because you don't want to put a dud in the mating nuc and then come back and have no queens. There it is. And put the grain bags back on. Move the cells out of the way here. And what I do is I leave the covers upside down like this, so I know that I've done it, because you got a yard like that and you start to say, did I do this one, did I do that one? And I can just keep going here for the sake of filming without the camera tipping over. But do the same thing here. Show goes on. These nucs are probably at the right populations. Or not probably, they are. I remember catching queens out of these. We got 4 out of 2. You know, both of these boxes yielded 4 queens. So 1 queen in each quadrant. I figure my average should be 75%, so I should be getting 3 queens out of each 4-way mating nuc. And that's a good average. Obviously when you start to get 4 out of 4s, most of them, and you get, you know, above 75%, you got a good day's harvest for queens. If you got 2 people doing this, usually you got one person running in front of me, opening up the lids. Then I go through, just drop cells, and then they come back behind me and close everything up. So they're kind of playing. We're playing leapfrog. We can get this whole yard done in probably just under, 20 minutes or so, half hour at most. Okay, so here's something I want to show you guys from the experience that I've learned here. It's a little tip for queen cells and telling if they're viable on day 14, pretty much when they're ripe cells like this. See this cell right here? This is a 14-day-old cell. See these other cells? You notice any difference? Notice the jelly in that JZBZ in that cell cup? Notice how milky white it is? It looks like it's just barely capped. Notice these guys over here? Notice how the jelly is kind of just either gone altogether, or there's a remnant and it's kind of a brown, or it looks like it's just been kind of eaten. And this one's, anyways, my point is, which one do you think has the problem? And the answer to the question is this one right here. Anytime I see a 14 or a ripe queen cell with jelly that's been kind of, looks like it's not, hasn't even been touched, eaten really, it's just milky white still, that's a problem. And let's show you guys. Now here's where I can make a fool of myself, or with the with today's technology with video editing, I can just edit this whole thing out. But you have this cell, ready? Look at that milky white. Let's see if I can open this up. So down in there is not a 14-day-old pupa. It's just not developing. It's something happened. It's stagnated. It's dying. It's got something. So if you put that in a mating nuke, you're not going to have a mated queen. Let's see what it looks like here. Maybe I can dump it out. Hang on a minute. Trying to dissect this thing gently so you guys can get a look at this. We should have a full, pretty much formed queen by now, and instead we're looking at this grub. So, you know, there's no queen coming out of that. But again, you notice these things with just repeated exposure to repeated use, I guess, repeated, you know, just doing this all the time. But there's the, you know, there's the jelly in that cup. Let's look at a queen cell like this one here, right? You get the camera set up here. It's waste more time positioning a camera and turning this stupid thing on and off than I do getting work done. So here's the queen cell. I'm gonna open it up gently because this one's viable, and we got hey, come on, adjust, focus. We got a viable queen in there. I'm not going to yank her out because I'm going to put her in a cell or in a mating nuke, but notice the difference right off the bat. So a little tip for you guys that are guys and gals who are getting going at this or have been doing it a while, and you want to, maybe that's something you don't know, maybe it's something you do know, but I've seen that time and time again. Anything where the jelly looks like it's undisturbed, it's milky white, and you're going into the mating yard putting out cells and you got a bunch of cells that look like the jelly just hasn't been touched yet, those are suspect. Don't just put those in flippantly without looking at them. So there you go, a little tip for you guys. Another little tip for those that are running these 4-way mini mating nukes. It's important to keep these top bars, everything scraped up and clean of propolis and wax, so that the grain bags or whatever cover you're using, if you're using a pliable cover, where the bees can't pass over and violate the quadrants, so you have, again, poor acceptance on the days, or poor yields on your queens. So just a little, again, another little tip that I've been thinking of here while I'm plugging in these queen cells is keeping the top bars cleaned up. Grass is all cut, ready to go.